So, good day everyone. We are still on the social uses of genetic discovery, specifically in the topic ontologies, scientific data sharing made easy. So, let us look on the definition. It is a logic-based organizational structure for knowledge. Ontologies speed genetic discovery by allowing researchers to quickly find and compare data from multiple sources. So ontology aids the problem that because of the vast amount of biological data online, like for example, journal articles and books, information on protein structures, genotype phenotype association, genome maps, drug efficacy studies, and much more. It is the issue is that there is so much data that sifting through it all to find relevant information can be complicated and lengthy process. For instance, you want to search about the bud development. You want to inquire about that more. You might retrieve undesired results such as rose bud development, yeast bud development, or even generic descriptions of genes, when what you really want is genes involved in lime bud development in animals. You might also miss relevant results because the same process might be referred to as bud formation or lime morphogenesis. So, as you can imagine, filtering relevant results is time consuming for humans and nearly impossible for computers, which slows the pace of scientific discovery. So, thanks to ontology. So, what are the basic principles of ontologies? Logicians view an ontology as a graph of information. So, when you have seen a graph, diba, it is easy to locate the information. So the terms concepts are the nodes in the graph and the relationships as the links that connect the terms. So many relationships are directed, meaning that they are only true in one direction. Like for example, the nucleus is a part of the cell, but the cell cannot be a part of the nucleus. Simple as that. So ontologies are often hierarchical in structure. So it's an organization. It has levels. So there are two specific ontologies. First is the zebrafish anatomy or the ZFA. So it includes a representation of the anatomy of Danio Rerio at all stages of life, from single-cell zygote to an adult. So the main features of the ZFA, in addition to its largely structure-based subclass hierarchy, are its partonomy, using the part-of relationship, and the developmental hierarchy, using the develops from relation. So we are going to dig deeper on that as we move forward. So this is what it looked like. The graph. So these are the relationships, the links that connects, and then this one. Now, the second one, specific ontology, is the gene ontology or the GEO. This gene ontology allows users to describe a gene or gene product in detail, considering three main aspects. So this is the molecular function, the biological process, and the cellular location. So take note of that. So it provides structured, controlled vocabularies and classifications that cover several domains of molecular and cellular biology and are freely available for community use in the annotation of genes, gene products, and sequences. So since 1998, the Gene Ontology or the GEO project has attempted to bridge the gap between different biological communities by developing three ontologies to classify gene products, that is the cellular component, the molecular function, and the biological process of ontologies. So this is the graph of a gene ontology. Next. let us look on the two basic relationship types. The first one is the is a relationship. So, as we have mentioned on the ZFA, the is a relationship is one of those. So, what is this? Allows for simple hierarchical connections between terms. Consider a section of the ZFA representing the terms heart, gills, and brain. These terms are all connected to the term organ, and in turn to the term anatomical structure through an is a hierarchy. Thus, a search for all mutants that affect zebrafish organs could follow the SA relationships to return results for any mutants manifesting phenotypes in the heart, gills, or brain. So, it it describes the definition, the is a relationship. So the next one is the part of relationship. So what is this? It is used for describing how the components of the living system fit together. This can signify physical parts, such as those found in the zebrafish anatomy, where the brain is divided into the hindbrain, the forebrain, and so on. Note that each part of the brain can be further divided with the subparts related via a part of relationship. For instance, the cerebellum is a part of the hindbrain, which is part of the whole brain. So, another example of the part of relationship, it also applied in the gene ontology. For example, in the ontology, prophase, anaphase, metaphase, and telophase are all part of the mitotic cell cycle. So there are other ontology relationships, which is the develop from relationship. So what is this? It is used in ZFA to describe the developmental lineage of the organism and its parts. So it indicates that the brain develops from the neural tube. Similarly, the regulates relationship is used in the gene ontology, the GEO, to relate biological processes to one another. For example, the anti-apoptosis negatively regulates apoptosis. So from the word develop from. So take note that shared language is important for finding information. So the biggest challenge in making scientific data easy to find is the need for a common language to describe scientific terms so that a computer can scour the internet, automatically discover relevant information, and be able to compare this information to similar data from other resources. So at minimum, the languages used by different information resources need to have a common dictionary of terms that all scientists can agree on, together with a list of synonyms. In this regard, a thesaurus can go a long way toward helping software recognize similar concepts. So, example of this is that the National Cancer Institute took in 1999 when it created the NCI Thesaurus to make the knowledge contained within its cancer database more useful for computation. So, as what I've mentioned, one example I mentioned a while ago in the introduction, that such controlled vocabulary is not enough. Without shared language for reporting scientific findings as well as knowledge regarding the ways in which different concepts are related, your search might not find a journal article. So, kahit sobrang significant ng search mo or ng findings mo, if it is not found in the articles, it is insignificant. So let's look on the importance of the ontology. First is that ontology can be a valuable tool for organizing knowledge. So example of this is in biology, about the classification of species. So, madali na lang i-connect kung sino yung mga nasa isang lineage. Also, in the chemistry, the best example of data representation is the periodic table, the fundamental organization of data about elemental properties, its structure, and their activity, and it's impossible to be a chemist without appreciating the depth of knowledge in represents. So, also in physics, the model underlying the grand unification of forces. So, second one, the bioccupation and using ontologies for discovery. So, biocuration is a growing field in which expert curators read and distill scientific findings from the published literature by utilizing ontological terms to tag them. One important and challenging curatorial task is relating a gene to the anatomical location where it is expressed. So, non-automated annotation efforts using the gene ontology as well as other anatomically specialized ontologies are currently being performed at several model organism databases such as Vectorbase, ZFIN, CGD, and Amigo browser. So these are the efforts being done by the ontology. So, last one is the ontological development. So, problems are reported back to the individuals who maintain the ontology, and amendments are made to the active ontology. The incorporated changes are then released to users, and the cycle continues. The gene ontology and other biological ontologies exemplify the collaborative nature of ontology development. These ontologies are engineered not only by biologists or medical doctors themselves, but also by special workshops in which community experts are brought in to clarify and expand the branches of an ontology, or to correct cases in which an ontology has diverged from current usage and understanding in the field. So, nag-update every now and then yung yung ontology. So, example, the mutation in the breast cancer, the BRCA1, could link to the gene ontology, which has a term for a BRCA1 protein complex. Note that duplication of concepts in different ontologies should be avoided where possible so that the knowledge contained in each ontology is orthogonal to the rest. This practice helps prevent confusion for users of the ontologies, and it also avoids redundancy in the knowledge of models. So that's all. Thank you for listening.